As already mentioned, the tragic loss of civilian and firefighter lives in residential structure fires continues, despite an overall decrease in the number of incidents. One significant contributing factor is the lack of understanding of fire behavior in residential structures resulting from natural ventilation and ventilation as a firefighter practice on the fireground. The changing dynamics of residential fires due to the changes in construction materials, building contents, and building size and geometry over the last 50 years add complexity to the influence of ventilation on fire behavior. The modern fire environment consists of structures constructed of lightweight building materials, open floor plans, double-pane windows, and furnishings made from synthetic materials. Individually, each of these factors impact fire behavior, but collectively, they lead to faster fire propagation, shorter times to flashover, rapid changes in fire dynamics, shorter escape times for both occupants and firefighters, and shorter times to collapse. Click to learn more about the modern fire environment or click Next to continue. Data collected by the U.S. Census Bureau indicated that from 1973 to 2017, the average size of a single-family home in the U.S. increased from 1,600 square feet to approximately 2,500 square feet. That is an increase of 56% during those 35 years. While the average home size increased, the size of the lots on which they sit has decreased. Data from the U.S. Census Bureau indicated that the median lot size for a single-family home decreased from more than 10,000 square feet in 1973 to approximately 8,800 square feet in 2017. Data collected by the U.S. Ventilation is a firefighting operation. Data collected by the Modern homes often have large open floor plans. The large open floor plans allow heat and smoke to flow freely through the structure. Less compartmentation may reduce the available safe egress time for occupants and allow the fire to grow and spread through a larger portion of the house before fire department arrival. The materials and construction methods used to build homes are continually changing. The reasons for the changes may include improved energy efficiency, the sustainability of the material supply, or factory-built components. Over the last 50 years, construction materials, construction methods, insulation, and furnishings have changed the means and the speed of fire growth within a structure. Today, residential structure fires are predominantly fueled by synthetic contents, which are more flammable than natural ones. Click the icon to see an example of the impact this has on fire growth and spread. To examine how changing fuels impact fire growth, an experiment was conducted in 2 simulated living spaces. 2 rooms were constructed and furnished to represent a modern room and a legacy room. The rooms measured 12 feet by 12 feet with an 8-foot ceiling and had an 8-foot wide by 7-foot tall opening on the front wall. Both rooms contained similar amounts of like furnishings. Both rooms were ignited by placing a lit stick candle on the right side of the sofa. Less than 30 seconds after ignition, enough smoke is generated to activate the smoke alarm in both rooms. We see some flame development in the legacy room as the arm of the sofa burns. The cotton cover burns off and some of the cotton batting begins to burn. In the modern room, we see a black smoke plume develop. Notice that the smoke coming off of the modern sofa is darker than the smoke coming off of the natural sofa. The smoke layer is starting to develop, and the fire spreads to the polyester throw draped across the sofa. The microfiber cover is burned off, and the fire spreads to the curtains. Thick black smoke is being produced, indicative of unburned fuel. The smoke spills out of the room, which, in a residential structure, would result in smoke flowing into the rest of the house. At 3 minutes and 15 seconds, the modern sofa is well involved. There is thick black smoke present, the carpet is pyrolyzing, and the energy from the upper layer ignites the floor. The room transitions to flashover at 3 minutes and 40 seconds. In the legacy room, the fire spreads from the sofa to the curtains, and we see some fire at the ceiling level. There is enough fuel in the room to take it to flashover. It takes almost 29 minutes before the cotton sofa is fully involved, and the solid wood furniture is hot enough to pyrolyze. The room transitions to flashover at 29 minutes and 30 seconds. Ventilation is a firefighting operation of removing smoke and heat from the structure by opening windows and doors or making holes in the roof. If appropriately used, ventilation improves visibility and reduces the chance of flashover or backdraft. If a fire is not properly ventilated, not only will it be much harder to fight, but it could also build up enough smoke to create a backdraft or smoke explosion, or enough heat to create flashover. However, poorly placed or timed ventilation may increase the fire's air supply, causing it to grow and spread rapidly. Misused ventilation can cause the fire to grow in intensity and potentially endanger the lives of firefighters who are between the fire and the ventilation opening. While no known studies compile statistics on ventilation-induced fire injuries and fatalities, a quick scan of NIOSH line-of-duty death reports provides several examples of the impact of improper ventilation on firefighter safety in a residential fire environment. Click to read more about these specific examples, or click Next to continue. An alliance of the Department of Homeland Security, the International Association of Fire Chiefs, and the International Association of Firefighters created a website to track firefighter near-miss incidents. The National Firefighter Near-Miss Reporting System is a voluntary, confidential, non-punitive, and secure reporting system that aims to share knowledge and improve firefighter safety. Countless reports indicate that ventilation, rapid fire progression, and flashover are responsible for near-miss situations. Click to see some of the excerpts from the near-miss reports, or click Next to continue. Traditionally, fire behavior is explained using this fire development curve. This ideal curve is best suited for describing a fuel-limited fire. In other words, a fire with all the oxygen it needs to sustain the heat-generating chemical reaction with the fuel. Thus, the fire's growth is constrained only by the available fuel load. There is enough oxygen available for all fuels to burn at their maximum rate. In fuel-limited conditions, a fire typically has a growth stage, a fully developed stage, and a decay stage. As we play the video, note the indicator bars for the components of the fire triangle. An adequate supply of oxygen and fuel generates heat. Once the fuel level starts to decrease, less oxygen is burned and the fire goes into the decay stage. This graph is a more accurate representation of fire development in a compartment. In a ventilation-limited fire, the fire's growth is constrained by the amount of available oxygen. There is more fuel available to burn than there is oxygen to sustain its combustion. As the fire grows from the initial ignited item to other objects in the room of fire origin, it may become ventilation-limited, depending on how well the fire compartment is sealed. During this incipient stage, both the fire growth and power, or heat release rate, are limited by available ventilation. If the compartment is tightly sealed, the fire may ultimately self-extinguish due to insufficient oxygen. However, if ventilation is increased, either through tactical action of firefighters or unplanned ventilation resulting from the effects of the fire, such as failure of a window, or human action, such as opening a door, heat release will increase, potentially resulting in ventilation-induced flashover conditions. These ventilation-induced fire conditions are sometimes unexpectedly swift, providing little time for firefighters to react and respond. As we play the video, note the indicator bars for the components of the fire triangle. In the ventilation-limited stage, as the oxygen decreases, the temperature decreases. Adding ventilation increases the oxygen, and the temperature increases. Here is an actual fire scenario from Maryland. An engine and truck company arrived at a residential fire in a ranch-style house and observed a little bit of wispy smoke. 6 seconds after the first picture, crews are donning their SCBA. The engine company has dropped their hose line on the front porch, and the truck crew open the front door to begin a search. You can see fire in the living room behind the sliding glass doors. 2 members of the truck company enter the house to begin a search and rescue operation. The shoulder load was dropped on the porch without being completely flaked out, which resulted in kinks in the hose line. Thus, the firefighters did not get water to the nozzle. The 2-person truck company search crew has made their way through the living room to the rear of the house. 48 seconds after the first photo, the house was ventilated by removing the sliding glass doors. This gave the fire the fresh air it needed to grow. The last photo was taken 2 minutes after the first photo, after the 2 firefighters ran through the fire to escape the burning house. Luckily, they ran in the right direction. However, they received severe burn injuries. The living room and porch became involved in flames, resulting from the ventilation efforts. It's clear that current ventilation practices and changes in the modern fire environment impact fire behavior in residential structures. In the modules that follow, we will take a closer look at the fire research project that was conducted to quantify these changes.